For more than 2 decades, one man has defined Tottenham Hotspur. To some, he was the modernizer who dragged the club into a new era. To others, he was the obstacle standing between Spurs and glory. His reign is the longest of any chairman in Premier League history. And now, finally, Daniel Levy is gone. When Levy took the reins in March 2001, Tottenham were struggling for consistency, a proud club with a rich past but miles away from England's elite. Levy, a lifelong Spurs fan, arrived not as a dreamer but as a strategist. His promise was clear: he would transform the club into a modern powerhouse, and in many ways, he did. The jewel in his crown remains the billion-pound Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, opened in 2019. A glittering symbol of ambition, capable of hosting football, NFL games, concerts, and more. Alongside it came Hotspur Way, a training ground admired across Europe. Spurs became a global brand, a financial powerhouse once described as the most profitable club in Premier League history. But football isn't measured in balance sheets and blueprints, it's measured in trophies. And here lies Levy's tragedy. In 25 years, Tottenham claimed just 2. The League Cup in 2008, and, at long last, the Europa League in 2025. For supporters who had waited through promise after promise, that return felt far too thin. There were glorious runs that hinted at something greater, the title pushes that faltered. The unforgettable Champions League semi-final in Amsterdam, when Lucas Moura's hat-trick carried Spurs to their first ever final, only for silverware to slip away against Liverpool. For every soaring night, there was heartbreak in its shadow. Fans grew restless. Some admired Levy's vision, his shrewd negotiating, his commitment to stability. But many turned against him. They saw a chairman too cautious, a man who built stadiums but not squads. Last season, with Spurs finishing 17th in the league despite winning the Europa League, banners appeared inside the stadium. Our game is about glory, Levy's game is about greed. The chants grew louder, Levy out! And then, finally, came the decision from above. Tottenham's owners, the Lewis family, judged that Levy had taken the club as far as he could. Joe Lewis, now in his late 80s, stepped aside, while his children Vivian and Charlie, alongside grandson-in-law Nick Butcher, pushed for change. Their assessment was blunt. Spurs had stability, but not success. A new era was needed. Levy's departure came suddenly, with immediate effect. No notice, no slow goodbye, just a final transfer window, and then the curtain fell. So what do we make of his legacy? On one hand, Levy leaves Tottenham unrecognizable from the club he inherited. Their facilities are world-class. Their global profile is immense. The infrastructure he built will benefit the club for decades. On the other, the fans' hunger for silverware has never been truly satisfied. 16 managers came and went, including heavyweights like Mourinho and Conte, without ending the club's wait for domestic dominance. Tottenham became known as a team that nearly made it, nearly champions, nearly winners, nearly great. The football world's reaction matched the contradictions of his reign. Former goalkeeper Paul Robinson spoke of mixed emotions, praising Levy's vision, but accepting that his caution left Spurs short where it mattered. Supporters were similarly split. Some hailed him as the great modernizer. Others simply said they were thankful he had gone. Now Tottenham turned the page. Vinay Venkatesham has been appointed as chief executive. Thomas Frank, admired for his smart work at Brentford, will attempt to ease the frustrations on the pitch. Peter Charrington takes Levy's former seat as chairman, while the Lewis family quietly take a more visible role in steering the club. Already the season has begun with cautious optimism. After 3 games, Spurs sit 4th in the table. Early days, perhaps. But enough to spark whispers, enough to stir hope. And yet, whatever happens next, the shadow of Daniel Levy will stretch across Tottenham for a long, long time. He was the man who modernized them, who made them bigger, richer, globally admired. But he will also be remembered as the man under whom Spurs always fell just short: visionary, builder, obstacle, modernizer. The man who gave Tottenham everything, except the one thing its fans wanted most. After a quarter of a century, the Daniel Levy era is over. And as Spurs step into the unknown, the story of one of football's most divisive leaders stands complete. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and follow this page for more football news.